What's up, everybody? It's your boy E-Double here, aka Eric West, and we are here for the next matchup of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation Next tournament here on the HomeBoiz channel. We have Blair Flannigan going up against Chazz Princeton, the two most inconsistent decks of this entire tournament. So Blair Flannigan has this sort of maiden theme going on, as well as a little bit of a fairy tale theme and some tokens just randomly thrown in there because she did. So the fairy tale theme, because that's the shortest. Mystic Egg gets destroyed by battle. End of turn, summon Mystic Baby Dragon. This is the only way he can be summoned. Tribute this, not by himself, but by using this spell card in order to summon Mystic Dragon. This is the only way that he can be summoned. That is all. Moving on to the maiden side of things, you have some maiden themed monsters, all of which or most of which can be summoned with Shining Angel, and the number one maiden, quote unquote, is Maiden in Love. So in attack position, not destroyed by battle. If someone attacks her, that monster gains a maiden counter. That's all. You have to use this other spell card down here in order to actually do something with Maiden in Love, right? So you equip it onto a monster. That monster attacks somebody who has a maiden counter. Then after damage calculation, you go ahead and steal the opponent's monster. But that means that not only do you have to take or have both of these two cards, but you have to take damage twice in order to make a move, which is why we gave them Snatch Deal. The other really prominent card in this deck is Happy Marriage, and prominent only in this quote-unquote archetype. In Happy Marriage, basically, you equip it onto a monster that you control, and it'll gain attack equal to the attack of all the monsters that you have stolen from your opponents that are currently on your side of the field. And Defense Maiden makes your opponent attack your Maiden in Love, but you'll definitely never see this shit. Now, for the side deck, keeping the whole maiden thing alive, we went ahead and focused on White Magician Pikachu and Ebon Magician Kuron, which were actually the deck that they gave her for one of the PSP games or something along those lines. And so, essentially, their effects go off during the standby phase. Kuron burns 300 for each of your opponent's monster, and Pikachu heals you 400 for each of your monsters. You can equip these two ladies with the Trial of the Princesses in order to give it 800 attack. And if it kills a level 5 or higher monster with 2000 attack stat line, they upgrade into the princess versions who have the exact same stat line, except their effects do with more life points. Pikachu gains 800 and Kuron burns 600. So they're just basically doubled. And that's actually the entire deck, believe it or not. So moving on to Chazz. Alright, so Chazz's deck is an absolute mess. He has some Ojamas, some level up dragons, right? And he has the Union machines, the alphabet machines. I'm gonna run through this as quickly as I can because this deck is awfully all over the place, and explaining it can really take a long time. So the vanillas get equipped with their corresponding Y Dragon Head, W Wing Catapult, and Z Metal Tank, right? And so these things combine into their own separate fusions, the VW or the XYZ, both of which combine into VW XYZ. And I'm sorry that I have to run through this like this, but you guys can go ahead and look up the effects on your own or pause the video or whatever you have to do. Armed Dragons. You start off with the level 3, 1200 attack. During your standby phase, it turns into a level 5. You can send monsters from your hand to the graveyard to destroy monsters your opponent controls with equal or less attack. And during the end phase, if he destroys a monster by battle, he upgrades to the level 7, who has the same effect, except you only send one monster and you hit all monsters that he can destroy with this effect. And he does not upgrade himself. You have to draw the level 10 in order to go into that. Level 10 says discard any card in your hand and destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls, which is actually fantastic if you can get him out. And for all three of these guys, you have this one guy that you can discard. But you have the 3 Mass Dragons to help you get out Armed Dragon level 3. The 3 vanillas are useless. They can only really use Ojama Delta Hurricane if you can get all 3 of them out on the field safely. or they can be used for the fusions who lock up your opponent's monster zones, and that is just about all they do. Yugioh Machine Yellow here, upon summon of any kind, fills the rest of your empty monster spaces with tokens with the exact same stats. None of these yellow machines take any battle damage from you when they battle, and whenever they are destroyed in any sort of way, your opponent burns for 300 for each one that was destroyed. You do have some level up support in here. You have different dimension hanger as your union support in the main deck. So upon activation, you banish the different effects, the actual unions from your deck, and whenever you summon appropriate monsters, you can go ahead and bring those guys out so that you can instantly go into your different fusions down here. Now, your side deck is focused around support almost entirely for your Ojama deck, because what is Chazz without the Ojamas, right? Your biggest playmakers or setup cards are Ojama Blue. You can search any 2 Ojama cards. Ojama Party, you search any Ojama card and then you discard a card from your hand, and by banishing Ojama's stuff from your hand, field, or graveyard, you can keep alive your different armed dragons and machines, both the individual pieces and the fusions. Or no, excuse me, I think it's only the fusions that it protects. And then when it goes to the graveyard, you get to summon all your banished Ojamas, and the reason they would be banished would be Oja Modification, which banishes your Ojamas from different places in order to summon your different union machine pieces, including the vanillas. And then you can banish this card from the graveyard, shuffle back all the 3 banished Ojamas, and then draw a card. And very similarly with Oja Matching, it has the same recycle effect. However, with this, you send an Ojama card from your hand or face up from the field to the graveyard, search an Ojama monster and a armed dragon monster, and you get to normal summon one of those in addition to your first original normal summon or set, which is actually pretty nice. Infernal Transaction here is very interesting. You monster reborn for your opponent. It has to be 2000 attack or higher, and then you get to fetch any spell card that's in your graveyard. You do have Union Hanger and the anime Different Dimension Burial for all the help that this deck can possibly need. Then for recycling stuff, you have Return from the Different Dimension, Jar of Avarice, and Ojaba Duo is a really nice card. So that is all I'm going to explain for the Chazz deck. Oh, there is one more thing. So you have this semi-hard monster to summon. You have this insanely hard monster to summon. And if you can summon both of these guys, you can banish them from field or graveyard, thankfully, without a poly, in order to summon the Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon, a fusion of the Armed Dragon level 7 and the VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. And what this guy does is you can banish a card on your opponent's turn from your deck or extra deck and banish all cards your opponent controls and that is in their graveyard. And your opponent can't use or play any cards with the same name as any cards that are banished in the duel. Good luck with all that. Moving on to the duel.